What is the greatest problem in the world?
The greatest problem or the smallest problem, it is the same, the man. And when I say man, I do not mean something abstract. I mean I, you, he, she. There exists no man as such, separate from human beings. There exists no humanity. It is only a name. The reality is the individual. And the problem arises because the reality has not been accepted. The real has been denied expression, and the unreal, the abstract, has been imposed upon it. You have been told continuously, live for humanity. Where is humanity? Have you ever come across humanity? Do you think you are going ever to have an encounter with humanity? It is just like all those big, bombastic, bogus birds, God, motherland, fatherland, Holy Ghost. They don't exist. They are only projected. Live for humanity means don't live for yourself. Nobody has the guts to say to you directly, don't live for yourself. So they have found a cunning, clever, indirect way of saying the same thing. Live for God, live for humanity, live for man, live for the universe. Live for anything X, Y, Z, but please don't live for yourself. And here is the root of the whole problem. Your life is your life, and it can be lived only in one way. There is no other alternative. And the only way that it can be lived has to be found by you. It is not already like a super highway, ready-made, millions of people moving on it, going towards their goal, and you have just to join the crowd. No, there is no super way to existence. There are only small footpaths which are walked in total aloneness. And remember, even those footpaths are not ready-made available for you. That you go on number 11 footpath. They don't exist other than when you walk upon them. It is through walking you create them. It is a very beautiful and mysterious way of life that it does not make you like a railway train which runs on rails. It has no choice. It cannot just go anywhere it likes. Those rails are fixed. Somebody else determines them. Those rails are the destiny. The train simply moves according to somebody else's dictates. Man has no destiny. Although you have been told for thousands of years that you have a destiny, this is what I call the way of the cunning, deceiving, exploiting people. Now when it is said to you that man has destiny, you never think of a railway train. Only railway trains have destinies, stations. But beautiful words can go on hiding ugly realities. Man has a destiny. I have been hearing it from my childhood. And I have been asking each time it has been mentioned by somebody in some way, that please don't insult me. When I said this to one of my professors, he was shocked. He said, I am not insulting you. To have destiny is not insult. It is the most honorable thing in life. I said it may be for you because you don't understand what you are saying. Destiny means predetermined. My tomorrow is already predetermined by somebody. I have not even been consulted, as if it is none of my concern. I am nobody. Just playing cards in somebody's hands. Whatsoever he makes out of me, whatever game he plays, that is my destiny. And this is thought to be respectful. And the professor was not saying something crazy. That's how it is thought all around the world. I said, I can understand why you are shocked, because you have never thought about the word destiny. How I can have destiny? I have not determined. Then who is the guy who determines it? And what right he has got to determine it? He has not even asked me. I don't know him. We have not even been introduced. Just for courtesy's sake, he could have asked me that this is going to be your destiny. Do you like it or not? But nobody has even bothered that much. Man has no destiny. And I say unto you that it is only man who has not any destiny. Dogs have, buffaloes have, donkeys have. They move on certain rails. Each donkey, throughout millions of years, has lived the same routine life. The birth, the love affair, and the difficulties of marriage, children, family life, old age, all hopes shattered, all dreams unfulfilled, and the darkness of death. All the donkeys have lived that way. They are still living that way, but not man. In fact, I want to say to you, all men are not behaving like men. Few are behaving like monkeys, few are behaving like Yankees. But none even tries to assert that I am a man. But that assertion contains so much. Almost immeasurable. So first, Man has no destiny. Once you understand it, almost all your problems disappear. I say almost. Perhaps 99% disappear. 1% remains. I want it to remain. Because 99% of your problems are created by deviating you, by driving you in ways which are not for you. But whenever I said that this is an insult, the same was the reaction, a shock. Slowly I became aware that people don't use words consciously. What they are saying is almost just like a parrot, perhaps worse than a parrot. I'm reminded of a story. A Christian priest went into a pet shop. His own parrot has died, and that was his only companion. A celibate, no wife to quarrel with, no children to be engaged with them. How long you can live with God alone? Once every week, Sunday morning, it is good. But for the remaining 6 days, when the whole world goes to work and even God worked those 6 days, the poor priest has to remain in the church doing nothing. Even God could not manage to remain for 7 days without doing anything. 6 days he created this neurotic world. And 7th day he said, great, I have done great job. Now I can rest. But this poor priest, so he had his parrot, and slowly he has made him almost a scholar, training him. The whole week there was no other work. The parrot knew almost all the sermons of the priest. It had become lately a nuisance because he won't let the priest rest even a little while. Whenever he was resting, he will start his sermon, and that the priest has, with great labor, patience, been teaching him, not knowing that it is going to backfire. He will shout to the parrot, "Shut up, you keep quiet." Sunday I have to preach myself and I have to hear my own words. And then 7 days, you torture me day and night. Whenever you see me, you still immediately you start my sermons. I am fed up with these sermons. And the parrot will giggle. He will say, "And what about me? And what about those fools who come to the church?" Everybody is fed up. When I get so bored, I start the sermon. What else to do? And here I don't see anybody, no congregation, only you are my congregation. The priest was thinking many times, if this parrot dies, he is old also, and if he dies it will be good. And by coincidence the parrot died. And then the priest realized that it is impossible to live alone. The parrot was a companion. Although he bored him, but at least there was something. Boredom. At least there was something to complain about. At least there was somebody he could shout at him. Now, there is nobody. This is how habits work on people. You may be fed up with something. Your husband, your wife, I call all these habits. You may be fed up with them. You may have thought many times that this woman dies, or somebody takes her away. If she is hijacked, in this whole world so many things are happening, but nothing happens to her. No accident, no hijacking, nobody elopes with her. She seems to be accident proof. And the same is what she goes on thinking about, that this old foggy head, how long I am going to suffer with him? Is he going to die or not? But once the old foggy head dies, then she suddenly feels a tremendous vacuum. Intolerable. The same happened with the priest, so he went to a pet shop to purchase another parrot. He said, "I want the best one because what I have lost is almost irreplaceable." He was such a great scholar and such a hard preacher. He roused his congregation, although there was not much congregation, only I was there. But he was really a hard preacher. I am a silent and tolerant man, and I am a priest. I am supposed to be. But he was able to break the ice. And he was more patient than me, because when I used to become angry, he used to giggle. That giggle I still hear, and I think perhaps he understood better than me. So I need something really the best. I want to forget my parrot. The shopkeeper said, "You have come in the right time. That just now I have received a parrot, which is a jewel. You cannot imagine anybody to compete with this guy. You come with me." He took him inside the shop. At the very back, he had kept that beautiful parrot in a golden cage. The priest says, "What is the speciality of this parrot?" He said, "You ask a speciality. Can't you see these two threads hanging down by his legs?" He said, "Yes, I can see." He said, "If you pull the right leg, nobody will be able to see it. Anybody you have brought to introduce to the parrot, you just push slightly the right leg, and immediately he gives the Sermon on the Mount." The priest said, "That is great, because although my parrot used to give sermons, but not Sermon on the Mount, he used to repeat my sermons and I was repeating other sermons." And this parrot gives the Sermon on the Mount just by a slight hint. To go. My parrot was not like that. He needed no indication. The moment he saw me, he started. Unless I shouted and made much fuss, he won't stop. Starting was no problem. The problem was stopping. Because unless he will stop the whole sermon, it was very difficult to interrupt. It was just a mechanical thing. He had to go all the way. But this is good. And what about the left thread? He said, if you pull the left thread, he repeats the Christian prayer. The priest was really amazed. And he said, what if I pull both the threads? The prayer said, you son of a bitch. Can't you see I will fall on my bottom? You are expecting a sermon, a Christian prayer? No, even a parrot has some sense more than a priest asking, pulling his both legs. Even the parrot can see that this is stupidity. What kind of priest is this man? So I'm saying to you that just parrot-like man has been repeating words, but perhaps parrots are more alert. Perhaps they are just playing a game. Perhaps they are just befooling you. You want to be befooled. You want to be entertained, and they are doing it. But deep down, I have thought about it. I used to have a parrot myself in my childhood. I used to collect all kinds of animals. Looking into the eyes of the parrot, I had that feeling many times that when he is repeating words that have been taught to him, he knows it that these are just meaningless words. That was my feeling looking into his eyes. He was a very clever bird. Because whenever I will look into his eyes, I will see a subtle smile. He knew what I was looking. I had an absolute certainty about his eyes that deep down you have not been able to deceive him. But I cannot say so about the so-called men. Looking into the eyes of my professors who were telling man has a destiny, I have not found that smile of the parrot. They really believe what they are saying, because they know the meaning of the words, but they don't know the implications of the words. And implications are many, and most profound implications are indirect. They are never direct. You will not find them in the dictionaries. I have imagined many times to write a dictionary with not meanings, but with implications. But I am a lazy man. I cannot even work half a page, and that will be finished, so I have never started that. But the idea has always been there that each word has two things. One is the meaning, grammatical, linguistic, superficial, available in every dictionary. But nobody bothers about the implication. Implication is a totally different thing. For example, man has a destiny. The meaning is clear. But what about the implication? What is the implication of the word destiny? There are so many implications. One is that man is not a man at all. That man is a thing, not a being. Because a thing can have destiny. A chair can have destiny. It is made for a certain function. It will fulfill its function. Man is not made to order. He is not furniture. Man is consciousness. Consciousness cannot have any destiny. Consciousness has freedom. Destiny is just the opposite of freedom. That is its implication. Destiny means you are a born slave. Even before you were born, your stamp of slavery is completely sealed. You are finished before you were born. That's the meaning of destiny as far as implication is concerned. In fact, you were never born. Because before birth, death had happened. That is your destiny. You are programmed. Because of this idea of destiny, astrologers, palmists, and all kinds of future predictors go on exploiting men. They will not have been able to exploit you if you were not carrying the idea that you have a destiny. If you have a destiny, then there may be some ways to find out what it is. Perhaps in the lines of your hands. Perhaps in the lines of your head. Perhaps in the lines of your feet. Or perhaps in your birth chart, in the combination, position of stars, planets. Some way must be there to read the program. And the strangest thing is that you feel happy with astrologers telling about your future. You are really too curious to know about future without ever thinking that to have future means you are dead. If the future is already settled, then how freedom is possible? If tomorrow something is going to happen, then it is going to happen. I am just a victim in the hands of some unknown force. I am not my own master. To have destiny means you are not your own master. You cannot do anything about your life. These are the implications of that simple word destiny. It leaves you dead. It leaves you a slave. It leaves you without any excitement because all is determined. It leaves you without any hope. Because what can you hope? Whatever is going to happen is going to happen whether you hope or not. You are no more significant in any way in your own life. Even to call it your own life is not right. Destiny has taken away all juice out of you. This is what has created man. Into a problem. Once this is accepted that I am a determined being, then you are just a driftwood. Because you don't know what that destiny is. There is a subtle, unconscious feeling that there may be wise people who know it. Your parents may be knowing it, your teachers, your professors, your priests, your monks, your messiahs. These people must be knowing it. Because you don't know. You don't know because there is no destiny to know. But all these people have managed a totally different so. They say you don't know because you are ignorant. There are wise people who know, incarnations of God. The people who have realized themselves messengers of God. These are the people who know your only wise course will be to listen to them and to follow them, to believe in them, because you don't know and they know. And certainly those people who pretend to know also pretend that they have all the authority of the past, all the scriptures, all the other prophets are behind them. They are not alone. They inherit the whole wisdom of the world. And they are the last word, perhaps the concluding word. They have weight. In Buddha's time, 8 people were trying, just like politicians, campaigning for the post of the 24 Tirthankaras of the Jainas, because the post was vacant. And 23rd Tirthankaras had already happened. Only one was left for the whole creation to come. It was not an ordinary opportunity. A presidential election is there every 5 years, 3 years, 4 years. A prime minister in every 4 years or 5 years. If some assassinator does not interfere, that too is conditional. 20% of American presidents have been assassinated. It is not a small percentage. And if this is the case in America, just within 300 years of history, you can think what has happened around the world. And these presidents were killed by enemies, people who belong to different antagonistic ideologies. But if you look into the history, you will be surprised. Kings are being killed by their own sons. Kings are being imprisoned by their own sons. Brothers are being killed by their own brothers. In South India there is perhaps the best sculpted and the greatest statue in the world. It is in a place called Gomateshwar. It is the statue of a Jaina sannyasin, Bahubali. The word Bahubali means man of strong arms. And he was really a giant of a man. He was the son of a king. The king became a monk. His eldest son, whose name was Bharat, and because of this man's name, India's oldest name is Bharat, the land of Bharat. Bharat was the eldest son. And Bahubali was the youngest son. There were only 2 sons. Bharat was conventionally the inheritor of the kingdom. When the father became a monk and renounced the world, he did not proclaim who is the successor. He was asked, he said, how can I do that? A thing which I am renouncing, how can I proclaim one of my own sons to be the inheritor of something that I have rejected? It is for them. If they want, it is there. I am not taking it away. But people will laugh at me that if you found it useless, that you simply kicked it out of your way, still you must have some deep greed, some attachment that you wanted your eldest son to become the king. He said it is just worthless. Nobody needs to inherit it. But if they want, that is their business. Bharat, seeing that the father thinks that the kingdom is not even worth that he should declare somebody a successor, he followed the father. Bahubali was very much interested in the kingdom. He was a very worldly man. He was a great warrior, knowing perfectly well that Bharat is going to be the owner of the kingdom. His chances of being a king are nil. But he can shine in other fields. And the best one was to be the greatest warrior in the country. And of course, Bharat was no match to him. Bharat was a simple man. Bahubali prepared himself to be the greatest warrior. But there was a trouble. And the trouble was that Bharat has not renounced the world. For the simple reason that he had nothing to renounce. The father had not given him any inheritance. It is a beautiful story. The father has not given him any inheritance, thinking that it is useless. So what he has got to renounce, he is already in a state of renunciation. But a formal declaration from Bharat was needed that he has renounced the kingdom. Then only Bahubali can succeed. If he does not give a formal declaration, which he was not willing, because if I have not succeeded it, in the very first place, I don't own it, how can I renounce somebody else's property? One year passed, And Bahubali was getting more and more agitated because this was a very strange situation. The father has left. The elder brother is meditating in the mountains. The younger brother is in a limbo. He cannot declare himself the king. For that, Bharat has to renounce it formally. At least he should say that I am no more interested. And he has gone into silence and simply meditating. Bahubali went there very angry. And he was a man of tremendous power. He took up Bharat into his hands. And he was going to throw him down into the valley. Even pieces of his body would not have been found. But just as he was holding him up in his hands, a thought arose that what am I doing? And for what? That kingdom my father has renounced. After his whole life's experience, he found it worthless. My brother, who loves me immensely, so much that if I had asked him to make me the successor, he would have crowned me himself. But he is also right, because he is no one. And even here, while I am holding him up in the hands ready to throw, he has not resisted even a single bit. He has just allowed him to take him up as if they are playing. He remembered their childhood. In childhood also he was strong, and Bharat was, although elder, was a weak, delicate child. And many times he used to take him up. Tears came to his eyes that what he is going to do, what the world will say about him. That just for power, money, and some power, some money that father has thrown as useless, and the elder brother has simply said that because it does not belong to him, he cannot even renounce. He changed his mind. He said, I was going wrong. He brought down Bharat, touched his feet, and Bharat went into his meditation just as before, as if nothing has happened. And it changed Bahubali's whole life. He stood by the side of his brother. That's where his statue is in Gomateshwar. It is 52 feet high, the highest statue in the world, and of tremendous beauty, 52 feet high. Its smallest finger of the feet is the length of your size, 6 feet. To see it from all sides, a staircase goes around. So you can see, because the head is so big, if you see it from one side, you cannot see it from the other side. You can never see it whole. The statue is in pure white marble. It is a whole mountain of marble that has been carved. It is not brought from anywhere else. It is the whole mountain of marble that has been carved into the statue, because 52 feet high. This big piece you cannot bring from anywhere else, and particularly 2000 years ago. And it is standing on a high mountain. On the statue, the story is, the Bahubali was a warrior. Once he started the inner war, then also there was no competitor to him. He went in such deep meditation that creepers went up his legs. They are reaching up to his head. Flowers blossoming, leaves all over his body, because creepers did not know that he is a man. He was standing like a pillar for months. And in his ears, birds have made their nests. Of course, in this big statue, it is very easy to manage. Everything has been managed. Marble has been cut into creepers and flowers and leaves going around his legs and his arms. Marble has been cut into nests of birds, in which actually once in a while birds make their nests, because ready-made marble nests where you can find. When I had gone there was actually in one ear 2 eggs, and a bird was sitting on top of those 2 eggs. The ears are so big, you can imagine 52 feet high man, then how much big will be the ears? You can sit in the ear, what to say about a bird? You can lay eggs and sit on them. I have seen many, almost all the beautiful statues in India. But nothing to compare with Bahubali. This man became man because he changed some act which he was just going to commit. He proved his freedom. It was almost on the verge of throwing Bharat. But even from the last step you can come back. There is nobody to prevent you. And a man who was ready to kill his brother for the kingdom, because after his death he was free to be the king. Changed so much that he forgot about all the kingdom. He went into such deep meditation that he became enlightened before Bharat. And when the father came by the side, seeing both the sons meditating, and Bahubali has become enlightened, he was puzzled. He had never thought about Bahubali becoming enlightened. He was a wrestler, a warrior. He would have conquered the whole world. But to become enlightened, even the father could not believe that man has so much freedom. And what happened to Bharat, who was almost always enlightened, just on the verge, and he is still there? What is preventing him? And when Bharat opened his eyes and saw his father and his brother was just a luminous light, a peace, a silence so dense and thick. He asked his father what happened, because I had come before and I had been meditating here. The father said nothing, just the idea that you have done something unprecedented in history, something unique. There have been kings who renounced the world. There have been kings who have not renounced the world. You are the only king who has not even accepted kingdom. The question of renunciation does not arise. You are unique. That small idea is a thin layer of ego that is preventing you. While your brother, although rough, raw, uneducated, but had no such ideas. He had come to kill you, but at the last moment, he saw what he is doing. And he is not a great scholar or thinker to ponder over it, to do it or not to do it. He just saw the point, simple point, that this is stupid. And he dropped the idea. And he has no idea that he has dropped the idea, that he has saved his brother, that he has renounced the kingdom, and he has done all that. But he has no, even not a shadow of the idea of renunciation, of saving, nothing. That's why you started before him, but he arrived before you. If man has a destiny, then there is no way of turning from anywhere. And we have been told for millions of years that you have a built-in program. Now, from where you are going to know what this built-in program is? Somebody has to say to you. Those are the manipulators all around you, like an octopus. They go on sucking your blood from every possible side. And they go on filling you with ideas that you have to become this, you have to become that, you have to become. Somebody that has nothing to do with your nature. This is what has made man a problem. In fact, man can be the solution, not only of himself but of whole existence, because he is the highest peak of consciousness. He is at the topmost peak of existence, but in so many knots, puzzles, that he cannot figure it out himself what he is, what existence is. He lives a problematic life and dies a problematic death. From the very beginning to the end, he is just a long, long problem. That creates anxiety, anguish, tension, suffering, and a constant feeling that something is being missed. And that feeling is true. Not only something, everything is being missed. But if you just stand a step back and look at the whole situation, that how the problem is being created, then to solve it is just a child's game. I am reminded of a story. Gautam the Buddha one day came into his morning discourse. 10,000 sannyasins are waiting for him, just like every day. But today there is something surprising. Everybody is puzzled and looking at each other, because Buddha is coming with a handkerchief, very costly. Perhaps some king has presented him, but he does not take that kind of things. So everybody is looking, what is the matter, and why he should bring it just in his hand ahead of himself, almost saying to everybody, look well. And then he comes and sits and keeps his hand with the handkerchief and says to his sannyasins, look very carefully. They all look. There is nothing to look at, just a beautiful silken handkerchief. And then he starts putting knots on the handkerchief. He puts 5 knots on the handkerchief. There is immense silence. Everybody is simply watching what he is doing. And then he asks them that, is this the same handkerchief? The same that I had brought with myself, or it is a different handkerchief? Sariputra, one of his chief disciples, stands up and says, why are you joking with us? You have never done such a thing. This is the same handkerchief. Buddha said, Sariputra, think once again, because the handkerchief that I had brought had no knots. And this has 5 knots. How this can be the same? Sariputra can see the point. He says, I am sorry. I do understand. Although it is the same handkerchief, but now in a very knotted condition. Such as a man in anguish. He is the same man. A man in suffering, he is the same man, but in knots. Buddha said, exactly right. That's what I want to show it to you. That the man who is in suffering is not different from Gautam the Buddha. I am just a handkerchief without knots. You are a handkerchief with 5 knots. Of course, he has his philosophy of 5 basic problems that trouble man. Violence, greed, untruthfulness, unawareness, and the ego. You can find many more knots. These are just the main, according to him. Secondly, he said, I would like to ask you one thing more. I am trying to open these knots. Look at me. Will this help to open the knots? He pulled both the ends of the handkerchief farther away. Knots became smaller and more tighter. And somebody shouted, what are you doing? This way those knots will never open. Such a fine silk. And you are pulling so hard. Knots are becoming so small that it will become almost impossible to open them again. Buddha said, you can understand about this handkerchief so clearly. Can't you understand yourself? Can't you see yourself in the same understanding way? Have you been pulling your knots or not? Otherwise, why they go on becoming smaller and smaller and tighter and tighter? A child is loose, relaxed. Look at the old man. Just knots and knots. Certainly, whatever you are doing is wrong. You are pulling the handkerchief. You are trying hard. Your intention is good. You want to open the knots. You are taking much trouble. But your doing is your very undoing. You are making things more and more complicated, worse and worse. And the more complicated they become, the more hard you pull, because you think, what else to do? He asked, then I would like to ask you what you suppose me to do. One monk stood up and he said, I would like to come close, and first I would like to see how the knots have been put together. Buddha said, that's a scientific way. Before you want To undo something, you have to know how it has been done. Because to know how it has been done, you have already known all that is needed to undo it. Because you have just to reverse the process. The man looked at the handkerchief and he said, the knots have been done in such a way that if we relax the handkerchief and allow the knots to become looser rather than tighter and help them to become loose, it is not going to be very difficult. They are simple knots. Buddha gave the handkerchief to him and the man opened the knots one by one. And Buddha said, today's sermon is finished. I am not going to speak anymore today. Just go and meditate about your knots and how you have managed them to be so tight. And just do the reverse. Any small thing, just look at it how you have been trying to do it, and it goes on becoming worse and worse. Certainly in your doing there is something which is becoming a nourishment to it rather than a killer. You are not poisoning it, you are nourishing it, feeding it. And don't try to work on so many knots together. Just choose one small knot, the smallest that you can find in yourself. By smallest I mean the most insignificant. People have the tendency to choose the most significant. Even when they are choosing to solve their problems, they choose the greatest problem first. Now that is simply foolish. Just get a little aware, alert. Start from the small things, very small things. In one sermon, Buddha was speaking, and a man sitting in front of him was moving his toe continuously. Buddha was not like me, otherwise I would have stopped him immediately. He tolerated. It was too much. Because just in front of him, he went on. At the end, Buddha said, "What is wrong with your toe?" The moment he said, "What is wrong with your toe?" he stopped. Buddha said, "This is what is wrong with your toe. You are not aware of it. You were not doing it. It was happening, almost unconscious, just a habit. You must be doing it everywhere you are sitting. Now it goes on doing it by itself, knowing that the master needs it. The master is not even aware that it is happening. Because the moment I asked you, it stopped immediately. That means the moment your awareness went to the toe, there was a complete break. Now start with such small things which have not much investment in them. People start with their egos, they want to become egoless. Now you are taking such a big problem, and you are so small, and the problem is so big that you are going to fail. In fact, perhaps that's why you have chosen the big problem, because you want to fail. You don't want to succeed. Perhaps this too is a way of the ego to choose the biggest problem. You are no ordinary man trying to change small things here and there. When you want to change the real problem. Perhaps this is the ego coming from the back and deceiving you. No, choose something very insignificant which makes not much difference. But the beauty is, the smallest problem has the same properties as the biggest problem. The same ingredients as the biggest problem, and the same solution as the biggest problem. All problems are one problem. If you can solve a small problem, dissolve it, get rid of it, be finished with it, you know the master key. Now you can go on opening all the locks in your house. And there is not going to be any trouble. The basic key is awareness. And while solving a small problem, you are starting to learn the ABC of awareness. Choose something meaningless with no investment. It will be easier to work with. And once you have worked with it, you will be surprised. You have the secret, the whole secret of your puzzle, knotted life. Solve it. Then man is born in you. Before that, you are only a problem. Second question, Sila.
What is the difference between being a hollow bamboo, flute on the lips of God, and being a puppet manipulated by God, the puppeteer?
It all depends on you. Why not just be a hollow bamboo? Why be on the lips of God? That's where your ego is coming in. You are not hollow bamboo. You are already full of crap. Otherwise, from where? You have produced this God. It has come from your crap. It is a creature out of the crap. Must have slipped out of your hollow bamboo. Otherwise, I have been looking for God and I don't find a trace of Him anywhere. And you people go on meeting Him everywhere. And you are not doing anything great, just being hollow bamboo. And there comes God. Not only comes but puts you on His lips. If next time it happens, stop him. Because there is always a fear of AIDS. Particularly from the lips of God. Avoid this fellow as much as you can. Because his whole company is gay. And for eternity, if you leave a gay company, they are bound to do something stupid, something perverted. You avoid, even if you meet, just tell him, please, forgive me. Find some other hollow bamboo. Those days are past. Because in those days there was no fear of AIDS. You go. A hollow bamboo on the lips of God. You cannot be hollow. Otherwise, just a hollow bamboo is more than enough. Nothing else is needed. Nobody's lips are needed. And then a fear arises in you. A question. That what is the difference between the lips of God and a puppeteer? Playing on the flute or playing with his puppets. It is the same. So the fear arises that being a flute in God's hands, you are nothing but a puppet. Because of the ego, first you wanted to be on the lips of God. Now, because of the same ego, the question arises that you are only a puppet. So what is the difference? Whether the puppeteer is a god or a devil, it makes no difference. As far as you are concerned, you are just a puppet. Who plays the song through you? What kind of song passes through you? Does it make any difference? You are just a hollow bamboo. In every case, you are just a means, not an end. You are being used. There is no difference. There will never be, unless you decide to remain just a hollow bamboo. There is no need for any god or any puppeteer. You can sway in the winds. Winds passing through you can sing and dance its songs. Perhaps by chance, wind passing through your hollowness may create a sweet melody. But as far as you are concerned, you are utterly contented with your hollowness. The beauty is in that hollowness, emptiness, nothingness. But man is so idiotic that he will spoil everything that is being given to him. I have told you to be hollow bamboos. But I know if I simply say to you, be hollow bamboos, that's what I am saying now. Just be hollow bamboos. But 10 years before I was saying, be hollow bamboos on the lips of God, because otherwise it was so difficult to persuade you to be hollow bamboos. A God was needed. God's lips were needed. It is very kind of you, you never ask about lipstick. That what make of lipstick God uses. Otherwise, I would have talked about that too. Because anyway, I want you to be hollow bamboos. So if you want not a direct and immediate approach, and you are in need of some meaningless support, I was giving that. But I am finished with all that. To me, hollow bamboo is holy, and God is just nonsense. But you wanted nonsense. And without nonsense, there was no way to catch hold of you. I said, okay. Have nonsense to your heart's content. And later on, we will have to pump it out again. And that's what I am doing now, pumping it out again. Now it is going to be a problem for new people who will be listening to me and reading to me. They are in a difficulty. You cannot understand their difficulty. You can laugh easily. They cannot laugh. Because they are in the same situation you were one day. But they have missed. And what can I do? My ship is ready and I have to leave. So before I leave, at least I want you to pump out all nonsense that I have filled in you. So I am finished with it. And existence cannot complain to me that you filled so many people's heads with so much rubbish. Before I leave you, I am going to empty your heads completely, even if I have to behead you. I am ready for it. But the rubbish must come out. I am responsible to put it in. I must be responsible to put it out. So you are left just hollow, alone, silent. And to be in that space is all religion is about. Just to be as if you are not. And you have found what you have been searching for lives together. In your hollowness, all problems are left far behind. Now don't create any other problem of God, a puppeteer. They are all puppeteers. And you have always been on somebody's lips. Christian puppeteers, Hindu puppeteers, Mohammedan puppeteers. Now be finished. Be on your own. Just see the beauty and joy of being on your own. And you are bound for a surprise. That's so much beauty and so much grandeur and so much blessing simply arises from nowhere and fills your whole hollowness. It is waiting there. Just because you are not hollow, it cannot fill you. When everything else has been removed from you, nothing is left, suddenly out of your own innermost core arises the fragrance.